Have you ever opened your fridge in the morning, stared at a pack of bacon and a pack of sliced ham, and thought, wait, they're both pork, so why do they feel like totally different foods? One crackles and pops in the pan, turns golden and crispy, and perfumes your whole kitchen. The other sits neatly in slices, soft and savory, perfect for a sandwich or a holiday dinner. Same animal, completely different personalities. In this video, we're going to strip away the confusion and dig into what really separates bacon from ham, where they come from on the pig, how they're cured, why they taste and feel so different, and when you should use one instead of the other. So let's start with the pig itself, like it's a little culinary map. Imagine looking at it from nose to tail. Bacon usually comes from the belly, or sometimes from the back or sides, places that are naturally loaded with streaks of fat running through the meat. That's why bacon strips look marbled, with those white lines you see between the pinkish red. That built-in fat is what gives bacon its signature sizzle, its ability to crisp up, and that melt in your mouth chew. Ham, on the other hand, doesn't come from anywhere near the belly. It's cut from the hind leg, the big, hard-working muscle that does most of the walking. That area is leaner, denser, and more structured. Even before we talk about salt, smoke, or spices, those two body parts behave differently. The belly wants to be soft, rich, and fatty. The leg wants to be firm, sliceable, and solid. That basic anatomy is the starting line for everything that follows. Now, just being from different parts of the pig doesn't fully explain the huge difference in taste. The real magic happens in how they're cured and processed. Bacon starts out as a slab of pork belly that's rubbed or soaked in a cure, usually a mix of salt, sugar, and sometimes spices like pepper, garlic, or maple. Nitrates or nitrites are often added too, which help preserve the meat and give it that pink color. After curing, bacon is typically smoked over wood like hickory, apple, or maple. That smoking step is where a lot of the deep, campfire-like aroma comes from. When you finally put bacon in the pan, the fat renders out, the edges curl and crisp, and the flavors concentrate into something salty, smoky, and intense. Ham goes through its own version of transformation, but it's a bit more varied and often more complex. Instead of the belly, you start with that whole leg. It can be wet cured, which means soaked or injected with a brine made of water, salt, and sometimes sugar and spices. Or it can be dry cured, where the outside is rubbed with salt, left to rest, and sometimes aged for months. Some hams are smoked, some aren't. Some are fully cooked before you ever buy them, like most supermarket holiday hams, while others, like certain European country hams or prosciutto, are technically raw but safe to eat because of how long they've been cured and dried. The result is a meat that's firm but tender, usually milder and sometimes slightly sweet, with a flavor that doesn't attack your taste buds the way bacon does. Bacon leans hard on fat and smoke. Ham leans on brining, time, and technique. You really feel the difference as soon as you bite into them. Bacon starts out as a strip that's flexible and floppy when raw, almost more fat than meat. After cooking, that fat renders and the strip transforms. Depending on how long you cook it, you can get it soft and chewy or crunchy and brittle. It's one of the few meats people intentionally cook until it's almost shatteringly crisp, and somehow that's exactly what makes it addictive. Ham, however, doesn't want to turn into a chip. Whether you're dealing with a thick slice off a roast ham or thin deli slices, it tends to stay moist and structured. It doesn't curl or crack the same way. You can cube it, dice it, shave it, or carve it, and it holds its shape. If bacon is the loud, crackly extrovert of the pork world, ham is the calm, composed introvert that just quietly does its job. Flavor-wise, they're like two completely different moods. Bacon is big, bold, and in your face. It's salty, smoky, rich, and often a little sweet around the edges depending on the cure. You don't have to use a lot for it to take over an entire dish. A few strips crumbled into salad, pasta, or eggs, and suddenly all you taste is bacon. It's a flavor that demands attention. Ham, on the other hand, is more balanced. It still tastes like pork, but it's gentler. There's usually a subtle sweetness, especially if it's been glazed or honey cured. The salt is there, but it's not shouting. That's why ham works so well with sweet glazes like pineapple, brown sugar, or maple, and why it pairs comfortably with cheese, bread, eggs, and sauces without overshadowing them. Another big difference? Bacon is almost always at its best hot and freshly cooked, while ham is one of those rare meats that works both hot and cold. You can serve it warm at dinner or cold in a sandwich, and it still tastes complete. So how does all this translate into what you do in the kitchen? Think about the roles they play in your meals. Bacon is a supporting actor that often steals the scene, but it usually doesn't carry the movie by itself. You see it next to eggs at breakfast, layered inside burgers, sprinkled over baked potatoes, wrapped around other foods to add flavor, or chopped into bits as a topping that brings crunch and salt. It's like a seasoning that happens to be meat. Ham, by contrast, is perfectly comfortable being the star of the plate. A roasted ham on a holiday table can feed a whole crowd. Thick slices can step in as the main protein at dinner. Thin slices go into sandwiches, sliders, omelets, and wraps. Tiny cubes show up in fried rice, quiches, soups, stews, and pasta. Bacon specializes in boosting flavor. Ham specializes in being the foundation. But here's where it gets even more interesting: not all bacon and not all ham are created equal. Bacon can be streaky, from the belly, back bacon, leaner, from the loin, or even turkey bacon, which isn't technically bacon at all but tries to mimic the concept with a different meat. Ham comes in a whole spectrum too: city ham, country ham, black forest ham, prosciutto, jamon, and more. Some are cooked and ready to eat, others are dry aged and sliced paper thin, meant to be savored slowly. Each variation has its own salt level, texture, and flavor profile, which is why a thin slice of Italian prosciutto feels nothing like a thick slice of honey-glazed ham from a holiday roast. You're not just choosing ham or bacon, you're choosing a specific style of each, even if you don't always realize it. Let's talk nutrition for a moment, because a lot of people quietly wonder, okay, which one is actually better for me? Neither bacon nor ham is a kale smoothie, but they're not identical nutritionally. Because bacon is cut from the belly, it's naturally higher in fat, especially saturated fat, and more calorie dense. It's also usually saltier thanks to its cure, and because you're often eating it in smaller but intense portions, it's easy to underestimate how much salt and fat you're actually taking in. That doesn't automatically make it bad, but it does make it something most people treat as an occasional indulgence rather than a daily staple. Ham, coming from that leaner leg muscle, generally has less fat and fewer calories per slice. It can still be salty, especially in heavily cured varieties, but overall it tends to be a lighter option if you're looking for protein without a ton of extra fat. That's part of why ham is more common in leaner sandwiches and everyday lunches, while bacon tends to sneak in as a treat. Of course, the exact numbers vary by brand, recipe, and serving size, but the pattern is pretty consistent. Bacon is richer and heavier, ham is leaner and milder. If you're building a sandwich, planning a meal, or watching your fat intake, that difference matters. Beyond the kitchen and nutrition label, bacon and ham have surprisingly different lives in our culture too. Bacon has become more than just food, it's almost a pop culture event. There are bacon memes, bacon t-shirts, bacon festivals, bacon-wrapped everything, and even bacon-flavored chocolate and ice cream. People joke that bacon makes everything better, and to be fair, a lot of dishes really do improve with a little crispy bacon sprinkled on top. Ham doesn't usually get the viral treatment. You don't see people putting ham in donuts just for the novelty. But what ham does have is history and tradition. In many cultures, a big ham is linked with holidays, celebrations, and family gatherings. A glazed ham at Christmas or Easter, a cured ham hanging in a Spanish bar, a smoky country ham in the American South. That's centuries of tradition, preservation, and regional pride on a plate. In a way, bacon is the flashy internet celebrity, loud, everywhere, and endlessly remixed. Ham is the seasoned veteran, reliable, woven into rituals, and always showing up when something important is happening. Every culture that eats pork has its own version of ham, whether it's cured, smoked, boiled, or roasted. It might not be as meme-worthy, but it's deeply rooted in how people have preserved and shared food for generations. So with all that said, where does that leave us in the great bacon vs ham debate? The truth is, they're not rivals at all. They're specialists designed for different jobs. Bacon gives you concentrated flavor, crisp texture, and a powerful way to transform a dish with just a little bit. Ham gives you substance, tenderness, and a balanced taste that fits into everything from a simple sandwich to a full holiday feast. Saying one is better than the other is like comparing a hammer and a screwdriver. Sure, they're both tools, but you reach for them for completely different reasons. Next time you stand in front of your fridge, holding a pack of bacon in one hand and a stack of ham slices in the other, don't think of it as a battle. Think of it as a choice of roles. Are you looking for a crunchy, salty, attention-grabbing sidekick that can wake up your breakfast or add a punch to your pasta? That's a bacon moment. Are you trying to build a hearty sandwich, feed a crowd, or create a main dish that feels comforting and complete? That's where ham shines. You're not choosing which one is superior. You're choosing what story you want your meal to tell. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the delicious world of pork, make sure to check out our other videos, where we uncover the surprising stories and hidden differences behind everyday foods and objects you thought you already understood. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another tasty breakdown.